everyone, I'm Sunny D, and welcome back to another episode of the Appalachian Expose. We recently got a chance to sit down with the Boogie Woogie Man, Jimmy Valiant, to discuss his legendary career.
What was it like in the Crockett era, 83 to 88? Just, what was that time like in your career?
Oh, brother, man, you know, it was the best ever. You know, I tell you, everything was on fire. I mean, Memphis was on fire, of course, WWF was on fire, or I guess it was WWF then. And of course, Crockett, he was, man, red hot. We had 75 wrestlers that lived in Charlotte, man. And you know, it was unbelievable. At the time, I'm talking about Steamboat, Wahoo, Piper, Andre the Giant, man, would come in and also, of course, but I mean, the Steadies, oh my goodness, Paul Jones's Army is, you know, Barbarian. I mean, I just get 75 superstars, you know, Koloff, One Man Gang, Kabuki. Oh, geez, I mean, I go on and on. You know, we had the best talent, and we had 3 towns running every night. And the weekends, hey, I'd wrestle, we'd wrestle 7 days a week, and it would be, actually, I would wrestle 9 times a week because we'd wrestle once a day, 7 days, and then on Saturday it'd be twice, and Sunday it'd be twice.
That was studio. That was the
studio for, yeah. That's
now
Saturday
when you left
morning.
the studio, did you drive to the next town or did you fly to the next town?
Yeah, we flew.
fly?
Crockett had 3 planes. He bought himself, Jimmy bought like a little Learjet for him and Dusty, man, you there at the end, and a flare, and whoever rode that with that. We had one that me and Rock and Roll and all the other boys, you know, would get on, that held 17, and then they had another one, that a smaller one held 6. And if they needed another one, they would, you know, rent one, you know, at the private airport there in Charlotte. And so we were home every night, man, because we flew, and that was all Dusty's idea, and it was a blessing. Yeah, we would do the Superstation, Channel 17, and you know, every Saturday morning, no matter where we were. We was in Richmond, you know, on Friday night, which we were, you know, then we'd get up and go fly the next morning, you know, first thing smoking to Atlanta, man, wherever we were. And then we would do the TV, and it would be a live TV right there, but they would show it at 6:05 all over the world,
right.
All over the world. But Atlanta's seen it at live, you know, and then of course 6:15 they seen it again. But hey, Teddy Long, man, you know, he was just sitting in the audience, brother, man, you know, at that time, and hey, I just loved him. But and he started, you know, coming around, putting the ring up and doing this, and before you know it, he's refereeing, and before you know it, brother, you know, he went all the way, brother.
Right, managing,
man. And then
so did you ever ride in a plane with Ronnie Garvin? Did you ever ride in Ronnie Garvin stuff? Tell me, do you have any good Ronnie Garvin plane stories?
Oh, let me tell you, I'll tell you the gospel there, brother, man. You know, as far as the car, you know, he was I loved him, but he was the wildest man. He had a Jetta, Volkswagen Jetta, and bought it brand new, and he bragged on the tires, and he says, "Boogie, look, factory issue," and he had 100,000 miles on new tires, and it was just, man, I says, "Brother, please change it," and he would go, man, 80, 90 miles an hour, you know, constant, you know. And boy, he'd blow the horn, and if they wouldn't get out of the way, man, he'd push the car. He was the craziest cat. And I'll tell you one time, a good story. We just did the TV, and we was going to Raleigh and to wrestle that night. And we did TV all day on Tuesday, and Raleigh was Tuesday night, one of the towns. So we do TV as far as the interviews. We do interviews starting at 9 o'clock till we finish. When we finish, jump in the car, straight to Raleigh, work, come back, next day. Okay. Well, we're driving and he's driving, and man, we're running late, and man, he's Magnum with us. Magnum's laying down in the back seat. He's resting. I'm up there in front. And Ronnie, there's two semis and they're riding side by side, and he's hitting that horn. He's hitting that horn. He's right between them. He's hitting the horn, and he says, "Screw these guys," and he floors it, and he goes right between the both semis, right down the middle of the road, brother. I said, "Oh, brother." So then we're going on down, and we're getting close to Raleigh, and all of a sudden, someone behind. Brother he was speeding, and I couldn't believe it, man. He's going fast as he is, but he's blowing the horn like to get over. Now this is Ronnie's stuff. Well, Ronnie gets hot at this guy, and he goes, screw him, and he slams the brakes on, and brother, we're right there, and the guy, we're in the passing lane. That's what it was. And he slams the brakes on and stops dead. And Ronnie jumps out of the car, and he's kicking it, he's beating the windows, and the guy's scared to death. He's locking all the doors, man. Here's a mad guy, blonde hair, and I get out, and I almost arm drag TA out, man. I said, "Come on, brother, we're gonna get killed." Because I see these cars going 70 miles an hour are coming,
right,
where they're passing us this way, and Ronnie's fighting. And I said, with this guy, he's not in the car, but the guy, he's shaking, and I said, "Ronnie, screw this guy, man. Hey, we'll get him later. Let's go. We're gonna get killed, man." And I get TA. We're in the middle of the thing, and I said, and I'm yelling, "Let's go, let's go!" And he finally came to his senses. So we get back in the car, man. He peels off, boom, and we go, and so we make it. And the other guy's crazy, but here's the thing. Then Ronnie starts flying. Of course, he flew, and he would fly. He'd rent his plane. And a lot of times, and one time he had his own little Piper Cub or whatever it was, single engine, but he could carry 3-4 guys, and all the time he'd ask me, he says, "Boogie, man, you want to ride?" Because we split the cost to get to the town, and I said, no, it's okay, bro. And I finally got him tired of asking me, and he says, "Boogie, why don't you ever want to fly with me?" I said, "Fly with you?" I said, "Yeah, Garvin, fly with you? Are you?" I said, "I don't even want to drive with you, brother. Fly with you?" And I did fly with him. He was a good pilot. But I stayed with the Crockett deal and a very few times, and he was just a wild cat, man. I just loved him, and
So talk about the Paul Jones feud and the Paul Jones Army tagging with Manny. I mean, what was all that like?
Brother, man.
That was a red hot angle for what, 3-4 years?
5 years.
5 years.
5 years, Captain Joe Kemper.
Yeah.
And 5. And the thing was that this was one of the longest feuds, steady. 7 days a week, I'd either wrestle Paul Jones himself or one of his army. And in his army, he had Van Raska, he had Barbarian, Shaska Wadley. He had superstar Billy Graham, but he was going as the karate guy then, he had, they'd even brought Butcher, Abdullah the Butcher in. He just kept feeding, of course, the army. And it was my thing. It was the Valiant War, and I was against Paul Jones and his army. And oh man, it ended up, it was really a hot deal, and it ended up, they were trying to get Paul Jones here. He stayed there, brother. He was one of the best, baby faces that Crockett's ever had. I mean, he was like a movie star, man, early in his career, and oh, what a good looking guy, and oh my goodness, man, the girls they just melted, just like Ricky Morton, they just loved him, and so they tried to get his hair many times. So at the end of this, we had to squash this thing, and it was getting towards the end in the late 80s, and it was before, of course, he sold to Ted Turner, and I stayed there until it was sold, and because we were all on a 3-year contract, all the big stars anyway, and so I was fortunate to be on that, and it was November of '88. So almost in 1989 is when Turner took over. WCW was okay. That's when that would happen. But going back to Paul Jones's Army. So you know, I came up. I told Dusty. Dusty was the thing. I says, brother, man, you know, you got to squash this thing and get it over. Let's do the hair versus hair and you know, Paul Jones. I was beating his army like you know, redheaded stepchild. Every night they just put me over so strong, getting this thing right. You know, after 5 years, and I don't care who they put in, boy, I just kicked your can and so Paul, and even before that they had the assassins. You know, Paul Jones had the assassin. They took my beard, man, and that's when the Boogie Jam '84 happened. Yeah. Oh, it was the hottest deal. I put my hair up against the assassin mask, and we went around the loop and sold out and did box office, man. And that's when I did that interview, sitting on saying, you know, every interview, you know, I would just go crazy. Whoo, messy booger wooger, man, feel good. I tell my people, my brothers and sisters, don't you dare miss this one, see? And then they hear this, they hear this, they hear this. And I mean, for years they hear this. And now, you know, when I'm, you know, they took my beard and I'm sitting on the thing, and man, the blues is playing, I'm playing the mine. Oh, brother, and I disappeared, you know, and get the wine bottles everywhere. I was in Skid Row, man, I was down, and then when I finally talked, you know, I said, the boogeyman is low. Boogeyman is low as you can go. Paul Jones took something that belonged to me. Oh man. And I tell the people, you know, to go to the box office, you know, jam the box. I forget what I said, but to help me. And then I told them, we will do this together, you know. And it was the hottest thing, man. But then going back to the hair thing, and then so here Paul Jones. You know, I tell him on the interview, I said, you know, Paul Jones, you're a great wrestler and a great manager. I take my hat off to you. But I says, you know, you've been managing for the last 5 years. I says, you haven't wrestled. I've wrestled every night, 7 days a week against your army. I'm in the best shape of my life. It's because it came down to me and him. And if I could shave their, you know, hair, Shaska and whoever and a couple of the army, then I got a chance to wrestle him, and hair against hair, and it was signed and it was a done deal, and it happened, and I says, you know, I know you're weak, you're out of shape, and brother, you're gonna be a bald-headed geek. So bald-headed geek the people.
That's how the bald-headed geek
All
came
this,
about, yes.
That's how it started with Capper. And so here's the whole deal is that when that happened, the fans knew. They knew. Well, hey, Boogie's going to shave his head. Boogie is going to tear him up because he's out of shape. You know, it's not like when he was in his prime. Boogie's, man, he's in shape. He's been wrestling his army. So they knew that I'm going to beat Paul Jones. They knew that I'm going to shave his head, and they're all going to, boom, sell out. Starcade, whatever it was, big sellout, boom. Well, hey, we got screwed, I did, boom. I took it like a man, I took it, they shaved my head bald, bop, 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 bop. And then, you know, then we came back, next guard, well, I forgot what it was. The very blow off was that we had another hair-to-hair match, and this is it. I put Big Mama's hair up against his hair, and so, you know, they even had a picture of Big Mama with no hair and showing it like they're going to shave her hair because you know, he's in shape, and they show him working out, running, and he says, man, I already beat him once, which he didn't, they came in and knocked me out with Nux, or I forget what it was, but I took it like a man. And so now, hey, everybody's going to see a hair shaving, either mine or Big Mama. Okay, well, that's cool. Boom. Big sellout, another big sellout, big deal, bop, 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 bop. And that's when it happened. I beat him, and we shaved his head. That's when Manny attacked me. Manny was up in the cage that night. And after I was shaving his head, and then they let him down, and he came in, and yeah, he attacked me. And then they showed that Paul Jones gave him a suitcase full of cash, and me and Manny, yeah, we had a great run, and I had a great run there, brother. I was there. My goodness, from 82 to 80, almost 89, 7 years, 8, whatever it was, and man, I wrestled. Colton. Oh my goodness, Ivan every night, for 9 months straight, man, and chasing. He was I won the TV championship 3 times, twice from Ivan. Both times when Ivan was in Toronto, Canada at the Maple Leaf Gardens, and the other time was Charlie Brown when I beat Kabuki, and when I went for the title. But the whole thing is, which Captain knows, is where your money's at is when you're chasing the belt,
Right.
And so I didn't keep the belt long, just weeks, and boom, and it's gone, man, and I'm off with something else or doing something else. But yeah, man, it was the best territory ever. I went to New York in the 70s and went 3 times for Vince Sr. And of course, in the 80s, Vince Jr., but you don't have to call him Junior no more. It's like the song of Hank Williams. Hank Williams, he's saying that they wanted to be him like his father, and he tried that, and then he wanted to do his own thing, and he made it. He made it on his own thing, and then he sung that song. You don't have to call Hank Williams Jr. anymore. Yeah. And same way with Vince McMahon Jr. You don't have to call Vince McMahon Jr. because brother, he just, oh my goodness, turned it around in WWE now. It's the biggest thing ever, and I'm very fortunate to be in the WWE Hall of Fame, and thank you, Vince. And Vince did that, but during the 80s, they were just getting all the top hands, and he called me, they called me, and he called me personally, and at that time, I just, I was set, man, and I didn't want to go nowhere. Lawler did get me. Lawler, during the 80s, for 6 months, I did leave, and they bought me a house, man. And Lawler, in his book, he says, we buy Handsome Jimmy, they call me Handsome Jimmy there. We buy Handsome Jimmy a house, and in 6 weeks, he wraps his keys up and hands them to us. Says, I gotta go, man. Nothing personal, all business. I gotta go. But it wasn't. I was 6 months. I know. And in my book, my autobiography, and I got an autobiography. It's called "Whoo, Messy Daddy, Welcome My World," the Jimmy Valiant story. 500, almost 600 pages, hardback, man. Weighs 3 pounds. I tell Captain, man, buy 2 copies and what?
Do workouts with it.
Workout, baby, workout,
workout.
man. Yeah, you bet, Captain.
Couple more questions.
Yes, sir.
Miss Atlanta Lively. Tell me a couple of funny stories about Miss Atlanta Lively.
Oh, the best. I'm telling you something, man. When that thing happened, it was red hot. We went against the Midnight Express, of course, it was Condrey and Bobby Eaton, and we did Starrcade, the big blow off the Starrcade with that, and Miss Atlanta Lively. I says, man, I'll go get a streetwalker, man, as a partner and kick you guys can, and because they said, hey, get a partner, Boogie, if you think, bop, and they had heat, we had the heat, it was set, so we had Ronnie Garvin, man, and brother, he had a wig on, he had a girdle on, he had the lipstick, oh man, he had everybody on. He had everybody on, brother, and it was so cool. it was one of the hottest things ever. And that was the time that Crockett. See, this was before WrestleMania, man.
Yeah.
These were all Starrcades, the beginning. All this is all brainchild out of Dusty Rhodes.
Yeah.
Dusty Rhodes, man. The Boogeyman Jam, the Starrcades. You know,
Great American Bash. I mean,
oh, American Bashes, the Bunkhouse Stampedes, you name it. It's all Dusty stuff, man. It was great. We're in the Omni, and just like this floor here, it's all concrete floor, man. You know, in the Omni in Atlanta, sold out. And Greensboro sold out, and they were going back and forth, and forth. Yes.
86, the night of the Skywalkers.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Yes, sir. So we had 2 big sellouts there, and pay-per-view and everything. It was great, man. And so what happened was Bobby Eaton, man. You know when that red light comes on, man, they just you just know that they're filming right on you, brother, man. You know, we're business people, and we know. And Bobby's out there me and him on the floor, and man, I'm kicking his can out there, bing, boom, 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 and Bobby sees that light on, and he says, "Film me." I said, "No, brother, man, do it." And I see the light too, man. He said, "Film me." And boom, boom, I gave him a big bill, you know. You don't even see these moves no more.
Yeah.
I gave him a big bill, brother, and he took a big high bill, and the bill is just like a hip toss, you know.
Yeah.
But we call it a bill. You know, we got our own language, but it's a loss. It's a loss. From when I started in the 60s, 70s, and even going back to 50s, the 40s, all this comes out of the carnival. All this is carny, you know, it's carnival. This is where our business came from, our talk, our expressions, and just like you know, we've dropped down, you know, 2 tacos, dropped down, whatever. Well, now they say float over, or these kids, they got their own, see? And I just go with it, man. I hear the kids talking, I don't say nothing.
Right.
But they change it, and you change with it, you know. But he took a big bill right there on the concrete, and boy, they got it all, and it was great. It was great. But that's Bobby Eaton for you. You know, he was one of the first high flyers. I just love him, man. And God bless. He's hanging in there strong, just like Smothers. I call them Smothers brothers, man, and you know, so many. You know, our boys that ailing and you know, of course, I'm almost 80 years old, man, and I got stuff wrong with me. We all do, you know, and but hey, God's been good, and it's a great life, and hey, I fed my family, man, and you know, I had 3 families. I love my kids, man. I got, you know, a dozen kids, 2 dozen grandkids. I got a half a dozen or more great grandkids, you know, and just. You know, raised them all and raised other people's babies, and it's just been great. But I got a wonderful lady now, Angel, and the last 30 years, and it's hey, man, you know, I'm just want to be now a goodwill ambassador for our business, you know, and I know Appalachian's championship wrestling, man, you know, a Big Moose. Man, he's doing a great job, man, and I just want to appreciate all the work that Moose does, you know, for our profession, to continue it and promote it and train his students and you know, to keep it going. And I know Moose, just like I do, I got a wrestling camp for the kids, you know, 30 years now, and Boogie's Wrestling Camp in Charlottesville, Virginia. And the thing is, you know, I know Moose and myself, we teach old school, but we also teach new school. You know, tell that story and all that, instead of all the flying and the bumps and the this and that, the wrestling, and then that's going to be a lost art, you know. So my students and at ACW, their students at Big Moose, you know, you get the best of both worlds, and you can't just teach that. You got to teach both because that's what they see on TV now, and that's what they do. But at least they get the best training.
2 questions left. Tell me a good Andre the Giant story.
Oh, brother, man, he's the biggest cat, man. You know, if he liked you, you know, and he liked me, and I liked him. You know, Moose, I got along with everybody, and honestly, there's 350 million people in the United States of America, and I can honestly sit here and tell you that I don't have one enemy, or you know, I do not hate, or I love every person. I'm telling you, in here in America. Now, I'm saying there may be 1,000 people who don't like me, and you know, say something or whatever. But you know what? It's their problem. I'm not sweating over it. I'm not you know, going to have no lose sleep over anything. But I give, I forgive. Man, this is my last year, my last run. You know, I've been wrestling 56 years, and I had 2 weekends that wasn't booked solid for this year, 2000, and it's just something that happened, and God's good. Hey, I'm not complaining one bit, but you know, I just appreciate you know, ACW for the work.
Talk about legendary. Be sure to check us out on YouTube and Facebook. Like, comment, and share to let us know you're watching. From the ACW Appalachian Expose, I'm Sunny D.